In 2017, a Welsh office worker named Ed Bridges was doing some shopping on his lunch break. While he was out, his face was scanned by police cameras at least twice. Now, to be clear, Ed wasn't on any watch lists, he wasn't suspected of any crimes. Rather, he was caught up in a wide-scale police operation using something called AFR, automated facial recognition. Police were using it on pedestrians that day. But Ed didn't consent to be filmed. He says it's a violation of his human rights, and he's taking the police to court. Tell us in your own words a little bit about what happened.
So the first time that I came across automatic facial recognition technology, I popped out of my office at lunchtime to go and buy a sandwich and pick up a few things just before Christmas. And on the main pedestrian shopping street in Cardiff, where I live, was a police van. And there were no police officers giving out information, no signage. So the first time that I realised it was a facial recognition van was when I was within 6 feet of it. And by the time I was close enough to have realised that, my image would already have been captured several times. And I felt, as a law-abiding citizen going about my everyday business, that was an invasion of my privacy, if you like.
But there's CCTV everywhere in Britain. Like, if you go outside, you're almost certainly being recorded. How is this different?
So it's different in several key ways. The most important is that, unlike CCTV, there is no clear and robust legal regulation around automatic facial recognition technology. If I go and watch a football match, as I do often, and the police are filming a section of crowd or taking pictures of a section of crowd, I have rights over how that data is managed and handled, and that equivalent legislation does not apply to facial recognition technology. It exists in this regulatory vacuum.
Some people in the law enforcement community would argue that at a time when budgets are being slashed and they have fewer and fewer resources, this is a really valuable tool that helps them catch bad guys and keep us all safe. How would you respond to that?
I don't quibble with the fact that the police have dwindling resources and a difficult job to do, and that this is a potentially useful tool, but it comes back to that point. We don't live in an authoritarian regime, we live in a democracy. The police in the UK police by consent, and that means that they have to have the confidence and the support of the public. And I think in order to do that, they need to demonstrate that there are robust mechanisms in place, not just in law, but in terms of codes of practice and guidance, so that this technology is being used in a way that doesn't infringe on the rights of the majority. But at the moment, it feels like it's a sledgehammer to crack a nut.
We reached out to the South Wales Police Department, but they couldn't talk to us while the case was ongoing. They did send us this statement, though. The force has always been very cognizant of concerns surrounding privacy and understands that we as the police must be accountable and subject to the highest levels of scrutiny to ensure that we work within the law. We've sought to be proportionate, transparent, and lawful in our use of automated facial recognition. In a separate case earlier this month, a London man spotted one of these facial recognition cameras on the street and tried to cover his face. Police stopped him and fined him $115 for disorderly conduct. Ed Bridges' case in Wales is complicated. There's a lot of legal matters to consider and a lot of technology as well. But when a verdict does come down at some point this summer, it'll set a precedent not only for the UK, but a model for the rest of the world to look at as well and consider how we use this technology in law enforcement.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.